Take care now.
Hello. Welcome. Welcome to where I thought I turned the mic on, but I actually turned it off. Hey, Alex. Alright, we have to get the requests from the bar. I finish mapping this place. It's nighttime, that's not good. Okay, let's head back to town. I guess first things first. There we are. Get the auto-pathing up. Yeah, I could replace Ardentia with Alari. Also, about the auto-pathing here. I'd rather take the tile damage than the extra spaces. Rather have minimal encounters than minimal damage. Alright. Let's see, weak to paralysis, neutral to poison. Let's punch the one in the back, attack that, attack that. Yeah, fireball. Yeah, I guess I'm a bit hesitant to use Healing Herb at that high hit points, but maybe at this point it's fine? I don't know. Alright, that's that. And seriously, our cafe gets a lot of aggro. Somehow. Actually, what is this HP values? Alright, let's see. Toxic Rip to the front, see what we can accomplish with that. Actually, arm... double attack to the front again. Arm Crusher instead, aim at the Bone Archer. Healing Herb to that. Oh, it's lightning. Let's do ice. Got weak too. And then Sweeping Herb and Fireball.
Great work, everyone.
Well, that was a bit rough. Now let's use Healing Herb.
Thanks. Oh, thanks.
'Cause I don't think Sweeping would heal as much as Healing.
Hey there. What are you selling? Anything else?
Alright, and she didn't use any skills, so we just pop a Healing Herb. Gets her to full. And then we put her back in the guild and replace her with Hilari. Because, you know, we weren't really making full use of Hound. Would I really? I don't know what... Oh, wait, I can use Dragoon for bash damage. Forgot about that. I see Dragoon, I just think it's a shield, and it's about reducing damage taken, but I always prefer to, you know, use binds and ailments to, like, prevent damage in the first place. So not a huge fan of doing straight damage reduction as my main strat. But I forgot, Dragoons aren't just tower shields, they're also artillery. Ugh. I'll have to consider this then. I should probably still stick with Argefi though, because of binds. So we have cut damage with... Cut damage with a Harbinger, bash damage with a Pugilist, stab damage with a Rover, and then elemental damage with a Warlock. No, if we had to forsake something, it would be cut damage. The line ailments. Yeah, the thing is, I remember, like, cannon skills can actually do a lot of damage, especially if you combine it with sleep. But I forgot all about that, just because I tend to not rely on pure defense. And therefore not the defensive classes. So, yeah. I guess I should take a look at their skills then.
Very well then. Is there something else?
Also, I'm just now remembering I did not actually assign legendary titles to everybody in the guild yet. Hopefully I'll remember to do that later. Okay, so we have Decoy Turret. Oh, that's pretty nice. Decoy Turret. Fantastic. Oh, you can set up turrets if you... Wait, when guarding or blocking? Does that mean when using defend command? Or when using a shield skill? I mean, probably a shield skill, honestly. Alright, range bash attack to one enemy. Oh, instant attack. That's actually pretty good. Prep artillery is attack hit rate, turn speed if it can't use next turn. So it's a charge skill. Gun revenge. When guard skill is activated, next can skill will gain a boost in power. Nice. Oh, it's not next turn. It's just whenever you next use a cannon skill. And he even gets a stack when the decoys hit. Nice. This is quite appealing. This is quite appealing, but I'm not sure what kind of party I'd want if I'm also forcing a warlock in there. And Hypno Cannon, obviously. Curse Cannon, I'll just get it to 3 and be done. Decoy Turret's gonna be great. Buster Cannon, though. Next turn, range bash fire attack to one enemy. Closer targets take more damage. It says right there, careless movement could lead to misfire, which means you can't use the seal in the back and then swap them to the front for the activation turn. That'll cause a misfire. Whether a misfire means it'll blow up in her face or just be a dud, I don't know. Yeah, obviously that one's just put him to sleep, then move your Dragoon up to the front and hit Buster Cannon. Oh, I'm actually really gonna have to figure out how. Oh, I never gave Casteria a title. Well, I know that's the specialization, but what kind of a name would I give? Yeah, I'll just go with the first thing that came to mind. Alright, what do you get? You get Recovery Guard, use Fizz damage, and may recover from Vines. Huh. That's interesting. I mean, it's another source to remove vines, probably not as effective as freeing herb, but you know. Huh. Counter guard. I know shield bearers I never really used in my own save file. I made a shield bearer because it's the other spec, but I never actually used a shield bearer. Because as I mentioned, my parties end up focusing around just full disable and full burst, and a shield bearer doesn't really disable or burst. At least not to my knowledge. Let's see, for a turn, ally line takes reduced fizz damage and will counterattack. Vigar, second to protect an ally from enemy attacks for 1 turn. Okay, there's your bodyguard. Shield throw. Cut attack. Yeah. Oh yay, auto bunker, auto war, fantastic. Mitigate damage to the opposite ally line. That's an interesting passive, which means it could be the front or the back line that actually gets negated. Yeah, I can see why you do that. Because I know in past games, usually if you do end up having a defender of some sort, you'd oftentimes spec them into the bodyguard type of deal. And in other words, they didn't mitigate damage to the party, they would just take all the damage instead of the party and be an actual meat shield. So they'd have a high amount of personal damage reduction and healing, and then just do it with effectively the bodyguard skill but on the party. So I get that. I know in 5, once I saw the bunkers, I'm just like, oh my god, I love these. Because they get hit so infrequently, you can draw so much aggro. So as long as it's not an all-target skill or a line pierce, they are just fantastic. They actually negate damage. Because they can't hit the party. Now, it is a bit of an issue that you have to set them up every turn, so auto bunker is really going to help with that. Or just having multiple dragoons, that helps too. And then your dragoon can actually focus on like hitting things instead of using defensive skills every turn. See, Soul Guard for 1 turn, ally line takes reduced fizz damage and may endure lethal blows. Nothing about elemental damage though. Ah, then Full Guard is just everything. And this has a cooldown. It had better have high damage reduction to compensate for that. 50 cost with 5 turn cooldown. Excuse me while I look up the stats from that Let's Play tape. Alright. EO5, table of contents. There's Dragoon. Which spec comes first? Barrage Ball, Dragon's Roar, Bunker, Defensive Position. Adamantine Dragoon. I'm guessing that'll be Shield. Yeah, Recovery Guard. That says Shield Bearer to me. Vanguard, Full Guard. Oh, Full Guard. Okay, reduces all cut, stab, bash, fire, ice, and volt damage to prior 1 turn. After use, yeah, it goes into cooldown. 50% damage reduction at level 10, and 25% at level 1. That's pretty big. Oh, this description actually brings up a good point. Gun mount will replicate Full Guard, thus bypassing the cooldown. To actually get 2 turns of half damage. You still have to like wait out 3 more turns though, normal damage, but whatever. Okay, in the passive to null all. This says it's null physical damage, but the game says. Yeah, it just says damage, nondescript, but the data mine says fizz damage. Though it is 15%, which, I mean, that's in line for damage negation passives I've seen in 5. It's not good or bad, but it is a nice thing to get if you don't know what else to get. Oh, and the charge skill gives you a 2.5 times multiplier to damage. Like, it starts off at 2 times, which is actually pretty great. It's good turn economy. Let's see, Drop Cannon, Curse Cannon, Hypno Cannon, Buster Cannon. Of course, Buster Cannon. Just trying to get a sense of what the description Data Mine has for it. If it reads a bit awkwardly. So, like 5 times attacking your front row enemy. Oh, never mind. Yeah, I just had a bit of a reading comprehension fart. It says damage is doubled when attacking your front row enemy while the caster's in the front row, multiplied by 1.5 times when attacking your front row enemy while the caster's in the back row, or vice versa. Which is what got me confused, because I was thinking like 1.5 of the front row versus front row damage. I'm like, it shouldn't deal more damage there. No, it's 520% base, but it gets doubled to 1040% if you're front row to front row. Which, yeah, that's a big ass multiplier. Good god. So 520% damage per turn since it's a 2-turn setup, that's not great. That's good, but it's not great. You can do better. We have... Okay, looks like Pillback Decoy turret's actually going to be a good investment if I get to it. Less aggro than Decoy Bunker, but if they get hit, it seems like I can hit back hard. Okay, that's enough of that then. So yeah, I can... Knowing the value of Protector and a Hoplite, I do know that Shield Bearer is not bad. I really can't say there's any bad classes in 5. Just doesn't really suit the kind of parties that I make. And like with Warlock, I could try to force it, and I'm sure I could make a good party around a Shield Bearer, but not at the moment. Meanwhile, Cannon Bearer could work. But at the same time, I feel like I'd have to... It's the whole one of each race requirement that I've imposed, because, like, Brute Strength is only from Therians, Night Eye is only from Celestrians and all that. It's like, I gotta have one of each. But I really want the Earthling classes, because they're like the ones that suit my whole MO best. Yeah, from someone who's played every single game in the series, 5 has the best designed classes. Which is why it is... I'm not sure if this or the second Untold is my favorite in this series, but yeah, it's... this one's probably first. 5 is probably first, just for gameplay-wise. The second Untold is also really fun. Not so much because the classes are, like, super balanced in the second Untold, but because it's like everything is just overpowered. Really makes... Given my whole full bind, full burst thing, it just really... I think one way I put it to myself a long time ago was like, it's like everything has gone Super Saiyan in the second Untold, which is fun in its own way. I acknowledge, though, from Alyssa's complaints, and I can see that side, that it's not good for casual playthroughs, because they really, like, tuned up the boss HP to compensate for the fact that all the classes have a Super Saiyan button now. And even without that, they still do ridiculous damage. So, like, yeah, if you don't know how to tap into that, you're gonna have a horrible time with super overly durable bosses and whatnot. But if you know what you're doing, honestly, it's a really fun time. So I'm not sure if... So, right now, Chuyu's probably second, I want to say. And 5 is first. And it's not a clear second either. like they're both really close to me, but I feel like 5 edges out. But I'll also have you know that 3 was my first game, so that one does have a special place. But I'm not sure I'd recommend it as a starting point at this right now. I'm not sure when I'd recommend it. I mean, if you want to play all the games in the series, yeah, go play 3. But, yeah, I'm not sure when under what circumstances I'd wholeheartedly recommend 3. I mean, the original 2, I'm not sure I recommend. The original 1, reluctantly. Like, I know Untold is, like, the more modern version. It has better quality of life, but they kind of botched the storytelling and the class balance, so I'd bring you back to the original for that one. Yeah, so of the 3 DS games, 3 is the best. And then, I don't know if 1 or 2 is better. I hate to say it, but I didn't play either for that long. Like, I got 1 and 2 at the same time on the same day. I got their cartridges, that is. So I was playing through 1, eager to move on to playing through 2. And then I played through 2, and kind of hit a roadblock in the post-game, and ended up putting that down. I haven't really gone back. So, if I have to say, like, original versus Untold, I can tell you, for the second game, if you play the second Untold, you're set. For the first one, I'd recommend playing the original at this point, rather than Untold. Just Untold's really built around the story party, so the actual, like, classic classes feel inadequate for the game. And on top of that, the original narrative of the first game, they really, they spoil all the twists and turns, like, in the opening cinematic, which just very, very miffed about that. So for that actual classic experience, I would just go back to playing the very first game and not Untold. But for the second game, yeah, you can play classic, you can play the second Untold, and that's how you get the second game's experience. Probably better, too. The second game was, it was definitely more offensively oriented. The first game made the defensive skills very, very strong. And the second game kind of nerfed the defensive stuff, but ended up buffing the offensive stuff, so that's like the way to go. Even then, I also made another baffling design decision, which was FOEs give you 0 XP in the second game. Like, the reason behind, I can see, I don't agree with it, but I see it, it's the FOEs are supposed to be puzzles that you overcome, so you don't want to encourage brute forcing them. Therefore, you reduce the rewards, but like, dude, we still treat them as puzzles. And we also use them to XP grind, because they're like a huge, massive XP. It's like huge risk, huge reward, and you just now have huge risk and no reward. Ugh. But on top of that, they added like a whole lot more faux stuff mechanically. Like, the second game was the first time we had foes that could go through terrain that you couldn't pass. It's also the only game where there are foes that don't show up on the map. Like, we got foes that can fly, we got foes that can go through walls, we got foes that are invisible, we got foes that are just normal foes, we got foes that, of course, chase you on sight. It's all over the place, and some of those don't return ever again. Like the invisible map foes, but like the other ones we do see. Yeah, I mean, you still get the item drop, so I guess there's the gear component, but, like, no XP. Oh, and another thing to note about the original first two games is the retirement. Retirement is how you increase the level cap. Yeah, you know, like the 3 dragons that you fight to increase the level cap? That was introduced in the third game. In the first two, how you increase the level cap is you retired your explorer, and their level cap has been increased by 1. Which means you gotta retire like 30 times to hit the actual true cap. Oh god. It's a hell of a lot of grind, and auto mapping was also introduced in the third game, so it's a hell of a lot of grind that you have to do manually. So yeah, second game, not sure if I'd recommend it. If you play the second Untold, that's definitely a good experience. The first one, if you want the classic experience, play the original game. Make a broken party, which means you want a protector and a medic, and you want immunized from the medic and like defender from protector, because that covers you against literally all the damage and it gives way too much damage reduction. So you won't be killing things quickly in the first game, but you will not die. And then if you want to play Untold, just do it for story mode only. You're not gonna get a well-made classic experience from the first Untold.
It is only through battle that we can discover our true potential.
But yeah, for the third game, oh boy. Yeah, the third game actually has a lot of valid parties. I'll just say this up front, the monk class is the one with the healing skills. Because it was the first game I played, and it's the first game I'd ever played where monk actually was the healer, and not just I'm gonna punch things. I didn't realize that going by the class name, so I didn't have a monk until like the 20th floor, when I decided to like fill out the rest of the classes in the guild. And I went that far basically with a no healer run unintentionally for my very first time in EO, and it was rough, but I did it. I'm kind of proud I did it, but I don't want anybody else to make that same mistake. Ah, that's good. Oh, then you kind of got the narrative spoiled with Untold, huh? The dialogue is different in Untold from the original, though. I will say that. I mean, the overall narrative is the same. They hit most of the same major story beats. They had some revisions that, as someone who played the original, I was kind of happy to see, but also kind of not. Like, Ren and Tlashka were far colder to you in the original than they are in Untold. They're warmer in the remake. But also, in the remake, you get to actually talk with the forest folk a bit more. You don't get to talk with them at all in the original, or like anything beyond the announcements of hostilities. So like, I'm glad for that revision, but the rest of it kind of feels like I don't think they did a great job with retelling the story is all. And they definitely did a bad job with designing the labyrinth around the classic classes. They designed it around the story party, which has 2 exclusive classes. So, it's like every time you have the classic party, you're just like going out there with a missing limb. Just,
What will you do?
Second Untold, though, honestly, it's like the 4th or 5th time I've said this, they did a great job with the second Untold. I know 4 is still a recommended entry point. I'm not sure if it's... Although that was like before 5 came out, that was like the unanimous consensus of all the EO communities I've seen. Just because even though they don't do the traditional like Labyrinth and Labyrinth Town format that we have in all the other games, instead has that whole overworld thing, it has the most straightforward and self-contained classes, so you aren't overwhelmed with all the choices and synergies. Or get roadblocked because you're a bit too dull to find them all out. But with 5 and Nexus, I would not recommend as an entry point, because Nexus is definitely a best hits album. But 5? I'm not sure if 5 is a better entry point than 4 right now. Like, the classes really are super well designed in 5, to the point that, like, even if you don't really know what you're doing, you just put 5 classes together and somehow you actually have all the tools you need. Like, this is a far cry from Untold, where you put any 5 classes together and somehow you're missing half the tools you need. Huh. Yeah, with the Picnic and Standard, it definitely made it more accessible. I'll just let you know now, in case you had any doubt about it. Whenever this series presents a difficulty setting, which they added in 4, the highest setting, regardless of what the name is normal. That's what the game's balanced around. And every setting below that just tilts things more and more in your favor. Want to be sure in case you thought maybe standard was normal. No, it's expert. Expert's like when the if you actually, the data mine code is expert actually has the multipliers at 1, and then standard is like it's 1.2 in favor of you and like a 0.8 against the enemy. And Picnic is like even more ridiculous. In Picnic you have like double healing and take 1/5 damage or something. Oh, that should be fairly obvious with a name like Picnic. Now, hopefully you don't think I might be judgmental, but I am curious what difficulty you started on then. Whether that be Picnic, Standard, or Expert. Because, I mean, since I started with 3, we didn't have difficulty back then. Or rather, there was only one difficulty. That difficulty was Motherfucker. Since you started, like, after they added the difficulty setting, I'm wondering what you actually chose for your first time. Also, which Therian do I bring? Dargeth, Sark, Lari, or Densha? Well, I'm going to drop Ardensha because I'm not really using Hound much. Lao, I mean, also I didn't use Lao much, but might be more useful. And Sark and Dargeth, Oh, right, it's because Sark needs more skill points to graduate from the basic skills into the mastery. Otherwise, she's not that mechanically different from Dargeth.
Very well done. Is there something else?
Okay. I'm wondering if you found, or rather, I'm guessing because you knew Game Plus, you probably carried over all of your high-level characters and gear and stuff it didn't actually start from level 1, so you may not have really felt the difficulty increase, but, like, did you at some point? Ooh, that's a line damage attack. Spirit Sword right, Triple Strike, Petal Scatter, Helm Splitter.
Got it.
Oh, axe beat down? Oh, fantastic. Oh my god, yeah, this skill is like a prime example of how they actually understood what the heck we want. Because with sleep, if your sleep goes first, somebody else will hit the enemy and wake them up, and the sleep is pointless. Except for that, like, small boost in damage on that one attack, but, like, axe beat down on Haze Slash? Oh, yes, now you can go last in the turn. I mean, Etherians still have really bad luck, so good luck with the infliction rate, but whatever. Oh, like a legit new game, and not New Game Plus. Okay. We got a daredevil here. Here's if I want Swallow Soar. Like, Swallow Soar is nice in the fact that it's an instant hit, but like it doesn't deal that much damage until the second hit comes, but the second hit comes after the enemy acts. And the reason I'd want this is to kill rare breeds before they escape, but like if they escape on turn 1, then the second hit has nothing to hit. Probably just use Haze Slash then.
Got it.
Let's see, what was the party I used in Untold? Sorry, in the second Untold in the Fafnir Knight. Because I know I'd use a buffer and a debuffer, so I know I'd have a Hexer. And I'd have either a Troubadour or a Sovereign, but I don't remember which one exactly I'd have. Definitely had a Land Sketch. And probably a War Magus. Then who else? Maybe a Highlander? No, Ronin. Would have been Land Snatch, War Magus, Ronin, Hexer, and then either a Troubadour or a Sovereign. I forget which one. Oh, yeah, 100% DO to you. Congrats on that. I'm at 99.7%. Because the very final boss is one I have yet to beat in the second Untold, but everything else is there. Whole item compendium is filled out, monstrous codex, everything. 99.7%. One day I'll go back and finish that thing off, but today is not that day.
Won't get much done just standing there, you know.
I know, Igor.
Don't let the labyrinth claim you.
I'm wondering if I really want a Lari or not, because animal therapy is nice. What kind of bow skills does a Lari offer then?
Very well then.
Yeah, I... Not really, I can't say I did. Because I wanted to... Okay. So... How to explain this properly? Because I can't say I went in, like, fully blind to them. Yeah. So what I decided to do... So the very first game I 100%ed was 5. That's where this story starts. Because I didn't know anything about the final boss of this game. I just kind of went in there with the party and was like, let's just try this, and I beat it. And I was ecstatic, and then I used that newfound confidence to go back to the older games and like apply this similar kind of party philosophy to 100% them. So I did that to 4, and then I think I went back to 3. But at 3, I'm like, I kind of want some help with this, because not terribly familiar with the classes, because when I played 3, and I played 3 a lot, I was obviously much younger, not quite as open-minded to party formation, so I didn't actually know that much about classes. Like, even now, Buccaneers elude my knowledge. I know almost jack shit about Buccaneers, other than that they have the chaser skills. So I was like, okay, I don't want to know the mechanics of this boss, I just want to know what kind of party would do well against it, and then figure things out from there. And that's the kind of approach I took with researching. I did the same with 2U, where I just kind of asked, hey, this is my guild, what kind of party would do well against the boss? I don't want to know anything else. And so that's the info I got. That I have a general idea of what kind of party I should bring, and nothing else. Aside from that, I know that at nighttime its parties become random, but that's just something I remember reading a long time ago. So obviously I'll be fighting it during the daytime. And I don't really know anything about the patterns during the daytime, but I will eventually figure it out. Yeah, like, I want the satisfaction of knowing I beat the boss myself, but I also want to be sure that... So, the help that I'll ask for is what kind of party I should bring, in general. Not how I should use the party, just what kind of party, like what class combinations. Maybe what skill point allocation too, but not like what skills I should use. Because I know that if I look up a guide to beat that boss, and then I beat the boss, it's going to be a bit of a hollow victory. Like, yeah, I'm done. And that's just kind of be it, as opposed to the euphoria I got from just beating it with no other help. So it's not rob myself of that, I'm just not looking up the stuff. Now then, what do I want here? There is healing up, which would improve animal therapy. Oh right, there's stun shot. So yeah, hunter shot, stun shot, maybe foot pierce. Arc shot could work. It's an interesting thing. Because I know, it's like, I don't think Alara would actually offer that much, because she'd really only have Arc Shot, which is useful in a select few enemy formations. Target Arrow that I kind of don't want to use, so Lao will actually use Lick Wounds. And that just leaves Stun Shot, which we don't have, but if we... Take to a normal attack and get some free healing in. Or do I actually use a skill to do some real damage, but then I lose out on all the passive healing? This is the dilemma with using Alari. And Dargoth doesn't have that dilemma. Dargoth is just, who do I cut, who do I stab? I'll give Dargoth a try, because I have used Alari before.
Labyrinth claim you.
Alright, since that's the case, we don't have much in the way of intel.
Anything else?
I don't really plan to go back for a sharp pincer, so I'll just use a copper ingot.
Yes, job well done.
Also, don't really plan to use power charge because, I mean, yeah, that is a charge skill, but I don't really want to use a turn to charge in most scenarios. Yeah, that's way down. But again, do we go for the ring mail or for the Grand Fist? Because that's like -7 MDef and +4 def. It's like a net negative. You know, I'm not terribly sure if there's really a point using heavy armor then, given this balance here of def and MDef. Although physical damage is far more common than elemental. That's a good point.
You wanna equip it here?
Oh my. Oh my, we're gonna have to do some gathering. Man, more people's armors are behind the times than I thought. Jeez.
What'll it be? What are you selling? You got what are you selling?
Alright, we'll pick up the requests at the bar, and then we'll head out and do a bit of gathering. And maybe some requests, as well as build out that map on 413.
Thanks for coming.
Let's get some berries. Aether Guild honors me with its presence. Do wish for me to teach you the ways of the roaming wraith. Please tell us. Oh well, curiously enough, these undead enemies pass through walls. Keep in mind that these wandering spirits show no overt malice. Unless they happen to float through you, they shall not attack. Also, they change between day and night. They only come and go throughout the day, but they patrol over a wider range at night. It's a graveyard after all, so perhaps their souls grow more restless after the sun sets. Whatever the cause, be careful around them. That's all I know of the roaming wraith. Safe travels to you, honorable adventurers. Until my lessons might prove useful again. Whoops. I see. Just remember, there is no coincidence. Fate brought us together, so if you ever need my assistance, we are destined to meet again. Hopefully Elite and Solar are frequently seeing the third stratum. Yeah, they're looking for something. Maybe it has to do with a deranged monster looking deeper within the area. Nothing but rumors anyhow, all uncertainty in hearsay. You know what is certain though? How much this drink hits the spot.
What'll it be?
For a bright oil. Leave
This
threats.
one?
Okay. This request comes from a Ethereum woman named Mia. She's here right now, actually. So you should go talk to her. Good luck.
Which would you like to tackle?
Oh, 11F, Stream Watch 11F must be higher from third stratum.
This one?
Okay. So glad you're handling this request. It comes from adventurers who recently started exploring the third stratum. Apparently some unusual monsters have appeared on floor 11. I think the monsters have wandered down from higher floors to prey on less experienced explorers. Victim count is only going to rise. I want you to get rid of these monsters on floor 11 before anyone else gets hurt. I'll mark the 3 areas people reported being attacked in.
Hang in
Oh,
there.
that's like right on the main path. I'm counting on you. Be careful out there, okay?
Which would you like to tackle? This one?
Ooh, 7KN? That's gonna be good. This request comes from the Council. They specifically asked for you. I'm keeping the details a secret, though. They didn't even tell me what it's all about. Guess you should head over to the Council Hall, huh? Alright, one thing I do have to commend the second Untold about is their exclusive class, the Fafnir Knight. It's not like a Highlander and Gunner. from the first Untold where they have tools that no other class has. No, Fafnir Knight actually doesn't have exclusive tools. Like, he has an exclusive way of doing things, which is, like, completely focused around force boost, but he's not... It's like his whole deal is that he does really awesome single target damage. But you can get really awesome single target damage from other classes too, which is great for the overall design of the game, because when you have your classic party, it doesn't feel like you're missing a limb. Although a non-force boost Fafnir Knight, I'm actually not quite sure how effective that'd be. I know they have all the elements at their disposal, which I find is really nice, but their stats are very low for frontline. Fafnir is surprisingly fragile. Attack power is unremarkable as well. Until you enter Force Boost. Once you hit Force Boost, though, it's just... I mean, Fafnir can solo a lot in Force Boost. Pretty crazy. Welcome, Melissa. Missed the whole conversation about the past Etrian Odyssey games. Yeah, like Fafnir during story with Force Boost is crazy. But again, it's not like a super unique utility either. I mean, he basically has Super Saiyan 3 while everybody else has Super Saiyan 1 as far as Force Boost is concerned, but it's not a deal breaker for a classic party, that's for sure. Not like how in the first Untold, Highlander is just high stab damage and area stab damage, but the only classic class that has stab damage is Survivalist, and they have low strength and no multi-target. I'm not sure what Gunner offers that's truly unique to Gunner. Like, you have the half element stuff. I guess the turn 1 elemental damage, yeah. Yeah. It's not so much, Gunner in the first Untold, it's not so much that they do something that no other class can do, like Highlander with all the freaking stab damage everywhere. It's more so that they just are incredibly versatile. They got elemental damage, they got healing, they have binds. Yeah. Like, between the two, it's really... like, I had to supplement all the lacking stab damage with Grimoire Stones with monster skills in them. Because it could only really get good stab damage out of monster skills, and not the actual classes themselves. But because Highlander is a thing, a lot of enemies require stab damage. Otherwise, they're annoying as frick. And Gunner's probably why it always feels like you're just missing somebody from your party even though it's full. So Gunner can just do a lot. Gunner can fill a lot of roles. Physical attacker, elemental attacker, healer, support, and binds, so disabler as well. And no other class can do all that. So sure, you can get your Alchemist, your Protector, and your Medic, but like, who the fuck approximates a Highlander, and who the fuck approximates a Gunner? And then all the monster designs are just balanced around the fact that they're assuming you have a Highlander and a Gunner. On top of the level curve, assuming you actually go to Gunungagap, which just... you don't even have access to that in Classic. So you have to grind out like 10 levels between each stratum. Ugh. And like by the 4th stratum and the 5th stratum, the balance seems to tilt more in favor of the classic classes. Like, it feels a lot more fair and balanced there, but like the first three strata are just awful. Not so much the first few floors, though. The first few floors are standard enemies from the first game, but like at the 4th floor, they added a new enemy that wasn't there in the original. And oh boy, is it a huge goddamn pain in the ass. That freaking stag beetle. Oh, yeah, I got it. Alright, I got them mixed up somehow. I haven't played 2U in years, and yet I still have the name in my head. But yeah, Gladsheim. Or Gladshine. I think it's Gladsheim. Yeah, like, playing through Untold in story mode, I'm not spending any time grinding. We're just going through, and we're already at appropriate level, but like, in Classic, I felt like I had to grind. Like, I'd be at a level where all of the foes in the stratum would have a blue aura, and I could kill them easily. I beat the floor boss, go to the next stratum, and all the foes are red aura. What the heck? Level spike. Oh, well, now I get to see that thing you just posted. Oh, it's a video, so I won't be playing that till later. Feel free to describe it in excruciating detail. Hello. It's nice to meet you all. My name is Mia. Sorry, I hope I'm not taking up too much space, or too much of your time. People always tell me I'm too big and slow. Maybe they're right. Oh, that has nothing to do with the request. I'm sorry, I'll explain right away. You know a Celestian gentleman named Thaddeus? He happens to be my fiancé. I remember that name. Oh, thank the great tree. I get nervous when I start talking, so I was worried I wouldn't be able to explain things good. Actually, Thaddeus was planning on explaining the request this time, but he's busy right now. So, Thaddeus and I are, well, we're going to get married soon, but there's a problem. The artisan who's going to make the wedding veil needs some hard-to-find materials. So please, give me 2 bane weeds and 3 ivory sacks, and hurry! Sorry, I didn't mean to yell like that. I hope you can find the materials for my bridal veil. I want Thaddeus to think I'm pretty. If Thaddeus is already marrying you, you don't need him to think you're pretty. He already thinks that. Now, I was a bit too busy getting into character to actually internalize what she said I needed, so... Oh, it's a Therian. I was mentioning a Celestian. Okay. Looks like I have to talk to her again. Two bane weeds and 3 ivory bane weeds, probably a chop point thing. Ivory sacks, that comes from a ghost with their freaking possession. Gah.
What'll it be? Be careful out there.
Welcome back. Do you want to save?
Oh, next up is going to the council. Ah, you're here. I take it this is about a request? Thank you for agreeing to help. There's something I need you to tell me. Remember how we asked you to find the legendary dragoon's effects, correct? While you were looking, did you happen to come across a stone monument with something written on it? Those engravings likely have to do with the legendary dragoon. You should tell me where I can find the monument. You came across it. Do you remember where? I do remember seeing it. Is that so? Please show me. It was... here. See, so that's where the monument is. I'll send some of our best to look into this. Would you mind waiting here while they do? I found it, right where you told us. I'm so glad I remembered, because it's not notated. Thank you, we're in your debt. Oh, you're doing your job, no problem. Really though, you've been a great help. Now I can finally visit the monument myself one day. I didn't mean to say that out loud. I suppose there's no point in hiding it from you, but please keep quiet about this. It's supposed to be a secret. Like I said, I want to pay my respects to legendary Ragoon at his grave. I'll admit there are some political reasons for this, but there's also personal ones. I hold great respect for his sacrifice. He saved so many people. That's what compels me to show my gratitude in person. But first I need to know where to find the stone monument. I have to ask, again, that you keep this a secret. I haven't told anyone else. Let's just leave it there. If we talk too long, people will start to wonder what I'm up to. Thank you for taking care of my request. You'll find your reward at the tavern. Hey, Denbit. And yeah, I have forgotten your previous name, so... oh, right, Fancy Schmancy. Fancy Smashy Smashy Fancy. Whatever order it was.
Well done.
Ah, map of floor 13. Add to the registry. Thank you.
Well done. Well done. Which will you register? What would you like to do?
This is really versatile. I mean, glasses as a material is very versatile, but not glasses. Yep, fancy smashy.
Hello.
I forgot to talk to people. This is a good reminder for myself. I'm told the dreaded undead roam the third stratum. You're not, well, afraid of ghosts? I mean, we can kill them, so cool, but I don't want to fight them because they're annoying to fight. Like fighting a will-o'-the-wisp in Oblivion, like, you need silver weapons. But chances are the first time you fight one, you don't have silver. So you have to use spells, but you have a warrior as your class, so all of your spells are minor skills, and all you know is the freaking flare spell, which does like 3 points of fire damage. Ugh. Oh, the wisps. So, I guess it's not really scared. I mean, scared in the sense I don't want to fight them, but not scared in the sense of, oh god, it's a ghost. No, that's not the case.
That's...
Yeah, I guess I should have expected as much from adventurers like you. What about me? I could live without hearing about the undead. Whenever I hear your tales, it makes me glad I'm not an adventurer.
What would you like to do? Please, be careful out there.
Can't report a quest.
Welcome back. Do you want to save? Take care now.
So, what kind of video you make? There, fancy smashing? Yeah, I guess the next point we're going to Frigid Reap. So many things to put points into. So few points. Ah, Just Dance, of course. Oh right, we don't have a rover, so I don't need to let the dogs out as soon as we enter the labyrinth.
Oh.
Also, 10-bit? trying to think of if there's any systems that actually go by 10-bit. Unless you mean 2-bit. Yeah, that 10 could be binary. Alright, so what do we... Right, we need... Yep, chop... No, we actually don't chop on this floor, so that's fine. But we do need to kill ghosts. We also need to finish up that map. I'm not sure if I want to keep drawing the path through the walls. Like, it does highlight the fact that they go through walls, but kind of goes against the mapping convention. Like, I don't think I should put a tile in a spot that I can't traverse. But at the same time, it does show me that this is where they... So how are we on food? Because I know I bought a bunch of berries. 54. Okay, gotta get some forest wheat at some point, and then we will operate. Okay, let's see. Oh man, honestly, I don't think I should map this out during the night. Seems like a really bad idea. Yeah, that hashtag does not mean anything to me.
I'll go first.
No, I shouldn't double attack. Double attack is to deal with ghosts. Instead, what we want is Toxic Reap, Low Blow, Armor Pierce? Armor Pierce. And Fireball. Oh, right, and Alex, about the past EO games. Another thing, one big quality of life is the Monstrous Codex and Item Compendium. So, starting with 4 and the 3DS ones, they actually allow you to bring those with you. And, you know, press R to bring them up in combat, like we have here. The thing is, on the DS games, these were actually back at the government hall, whatever name it had for each game. And so if you wanted to look up info on a monster or where an item dropped, you had to go back to town and go to the government place and then look it up. Which is why with subsequent games, the government hall has really lost its importance. They brought some of it back though in 5 by Ramas giving you recipes. Yeah, periodically. At least last time you brought them up some months ago, I was watching them. Not recently though. Yeah, also in the first 2 games, there's also a other town facility that they didn't have, they got rid of in the 3rd, which was the hospital. So you actually, the shop was just weapons and armor, and then the hospital is where you bought like Medica and Nectar and stuff, and also got your party members patched up if you came back from a disastrous expedition. But then they split it, so the patching up was rolled into the inn, and then all the healing consumables were rolled into the shop in the 3rd game. And they stuck with that, because, I mean, the hospital was kind of redundant. Oh, and if you do play the DS games, know that like with 4 and with Untold, yeah, the def stat isn't that big of a deal. It's much more important is your vit stat and your tech stat for staying alive. So yeah, just heads up there when you get to min-maxing and wondering why the heck you aren't surviving much.
Give up! Huh. Easy enough.
Alright, down to floor 12, and we have... Oh right, it's not following me anymore. There we go. Chop points, and what is there at this gather? Manager Potato. Yeah, let's go get some Manager Potato. But yeah, if you go back to the DS entries, you will not be able to check monster info mid-battle. You have to memorize it. Now, fortunately, like how in Untold, if you have the Alchemist's Analysis skill, where they buff themselves and then they deal more damage if they hit the enemy's weak point, and the game will actually like tell you when you hit a weak point. In 3, that's a passive. And you still get the message that tells you you hit a weak point. So you get some help there. Try out everything.
Alley-oop. Found one. Here's some more.
Not bad.
Wait, is the weed thing like... I gotta check our item compendium. Ugh. Also, I have new descriptions to read. A gel's body that has been discolored from contact with toxins is quite resilient. Eerie ivy that looks like an arm. It's flexible, and so is used for shoes and bows. Rotting dog bone. Ribs of an undead dog killed by adventurers. The bones are oddly soft and poison resistant. Skull wood. Unsettling wood with skull-like patterns in the grain. Used for weapons and armor. Mostly. What about the mostly part? What else is it used for? Ivory sack. White bag made from a wandering spirit. It looks like common cloth, but transmits high mana. Vampire crown. Crown worn by a fiery witch. Keeps itself safe with a fireproof sheet on the inside. Parasitic Vine. A parasitic vine plant that uses animals as hosts. Most wildlife barely even notices it. Confused needle. Sharp needle from a confused undead dog. It's a hollow tube, so it works as a straw. Found mana stone. Petrified mana trapped in a witch's gemstone after its spells have all been sealed off. Fine sapling. A fairly recent sapling that nevertheless had fully rooted. It's hard and sturdy. Flint, a hard quartz that sparks if struck against steel. Civilians have taken to lighting fires with it. Okay, any weed thing? Let's see. Skunk cabbage, colorful grass, sturdy branch, thick sap. Floating cranium, bound vine, rusted metal tree. There's an empty entry here, so maybe I missed weed somewhere. Let's see, got tree, wood, pincer, dog bone, carapace, quiver, beak, sack, obsidian, vine, crown, weather, air sac, needle. Yeah, I don't think I've found any of that weed that Mia wants. one day I will have to read through, like, I put off reading the Monsters Codex entries because there's just so many, but the more I put it off, the more entries there will be. So I will continue to put it off. It's just, I learned from Hollow Knight, trying to read the entire bestiary in one sitting, especially with a fancy pantsy voice, is one way to wreck your throat. Alright, let's see. Anybody... Okay, either an... maybe it's from a foe. Wouldn't be too surprised. Probably not a gather point, though. Yeah, I did answer you. Not recently. But I did watch them when you showed them in the past. Not just the ones that you linked, but like, I actually went to your channel back then and watched everything. Alright, I guess Toxic, you're gonna get head binds, but I think that only really affects Naomi. Actually, I kind of want them dead because this is an annoying config, so... Yeah, I guess Whirlwind at that point, and then smack that, and... Windstorm? Yeah, Windstorm. One Toxin.
Can you handle this?
Look forward to getting Toxic Creep to level 5. Yay, hit all 4. Oh, that's kind of bad. I've just now realized that with 2 on the back line, Vicious Arrow is going to really concentrate fire on those 2. And it won't get spread to 3. Oh. Oh, that's an oversight. I should really get some headbind resistant charm for Naomi, because my word, these things. Yes, Toxic.
One hit kill. Just kidding. Big off.
Also, there's some status ailments that were unique to older games in the series. And I'm not sure if I want to spoil what they are. Huh. Well, I mean, you know of one, which is Fear, but there was another one. I mean, they brought Fear back for the Untolds, because, I mean, Hexer's whole kit revolves around Fear, but mechanically it's kind of identical to Paralysis, except that it also drains your TP. But monsters don't have TP, so it's basically Paralysis. Then Hexers give it extra steps. Alright, sweeping care of the front line. Alright.
Look at us.
You have a good night, Cubit. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, that was a rough fight.
Thanks.
Not sure if we'll get to the miniature potato before midnight.
Wonder what
Oh,
that
sweet, we got the miniature potato before midnight. Fantastic. Oh, now that I have the YouTube viewer account, I don't know if Alyssa's still here, because, I mean, she has to be constantly refreshing and rebuffering, so she may not show up at all on the viewer account, but seems like it's just you, Alex, for now. Alright, what the hell do I even want it? Yeah, Toxic Reap, because that thing is like, it's resistant to cut damage and fire damage and volt damage, and it has some high defense and high HP. The poison will knock it down like several notches, but that's kinda it. Won't do too much else.
Can you handle this? Yeah!
This is it.
I like Vine Fill, but it didn't do anything.
Get a load of this.
Hey!
Last one.
Toxin did its thing. Like, on the one hand, I'm glad that...
Don't worry.
How do you miss Aracia? How? And it's not the first time you've missed either. How do you have that low accuracy on normal attacks? Right, kinda glad, kinda not, that healing skills are arm-based now instead of head-based. I mean, for like, if it's healing spells, yeah, the head-based makes sense, but like, in the first game they were medics. And in the second game they're medics, and in the third game they're monks. In all cases you're using your hands to heal. In the third game you aren't using the medical knowledge necessarily, but you're using ki, which I assume would require the hands more so than the head. And in 4 it's a medic, but it's still head-based. So like, cool, botanists now they're arm-based healing, which is great, because head bind's less devastating. But arm bind is even more devastating, because arm bind not only ties up your attackers, it ties up your healer, too.
Alright then. Found one.
Not bad.
There's still a tickle on my left nostril. Honestly, that's just a... Must be getting cold in here. I don't really feel particularly cold, but it might be.
Found one. A rare one.
Alright, how are we on space? Okay, we're good in space. And all this gathering did wonders for our TP. Because, like, gathering... Yeah, herb foraging. I love this. I have a hard time justifying it in a min-maxed build, or, you know, an optimized build, because this contributes not at all in combat. But for exploring, for the Vanguard party, for your gathering party, this is, like, a must-have. Ugh, it's so great. I kind of want to get to level 10, but I'm not sure if I want to spend the skill points on that.
Can you handle this?
Alright, speaking of gathering, the gathering parties are just ridiculous in the earlier games. Especially 3. Because I know at some point you're going to play 3. I'm not sure if I want to say exactly how the gathering party is broken in 3. Just that out of the entire series, they are the most overpowered gathering party you could possibly have.
Let's see you handle.
Down to you.
I can still keep going. Wonder what that is.
You arrive at the location where the monsters attack the adventurers. Sensing a murderous presence nearby, you ready your weapons. From the shadows, monsters leap out of hiding and charge you. It sounded a bit different from my usual narrator voice. Still that poshness that I go for, but... felt different. Anywho.
I'll lend a hand.
Punch that skull. Chaos Troop, so maybe we get the conditionals, maybe not. Punch that skull. I guess try to sleep the archer in the back and Aegisper. And, Windstorm? Not Windstorm. Lightning Bolt.
Leave it to me. Take that. Take that.
Hey, that's one conditional.
I'll give it my all.
Hey, and it's sleep in the back too. This is why Volt, instead of doing Windstorm, because I could have woken that thing up.
Be gone.
Oh my god. That's like the best turn 1 we've had in a long time. That was great. Guess airblade at the back then.
This is it. Can you handle this?
Oh, fantastic.
Still keep going.
After deftly dispatching the powerful monsters, you relax and sheathe your weapons. There are still other locations where adventurers reported being attacked, however, you'll need to check there. Decide to make your way to the next area. But first, let's give a egg in the basket, egg in the basket. Yeah, one will do. And while we're on the way, let's get some manager potato. Toxic Reap, Arm Crusher, just smack it with normal attack, and Fireball.
Handle this.
This is it.
Huh. Easy enough.
What's that?
Oh, there's also the dead fish, too. I already passed it.
What's that?
You arrive at the location where the monsters attack the adventurers. Sensing a murderous presence nearby, you ready your weapons. From the shadows, monsters leap out of hiding and charge you. Oh, good God, no. Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 no. Chaos Reap. Just Chaos Reap. I won't do punch, I want these things dead as fast as freaking possible. Wide swing. Goddamn, take them all out. Whirlwind. No, Aegis Prayer's not gonna help. Aegis Prayer will not help. They are resistant to everything. Lightning!
Get a load of this. Go now.
That's why we defend.
Can you handle
Simple.
this? Is this the end? Great work, everyone.
Oh, hey, we got all the ivory sacks we need. But fuck that.
Thanks.
Alright, final locale. You reach the last of the locations where the monsters reportedly attacked adventurers. Just like before, you don't see any sign of monsters at first glance. It doesn't take long before you sense the same murderous presence as the last two places, though. You brace yourselves and draw your weapons. As you do, a monster appears and howls its challenge at you. This thing appears on floor 11. I mean, rarely, but it appears here. What the heck are they talking about?
Can you handle this?
Yeah, poison.
This is it. Can you handle this?
Give up.
They changed it in 5. Poison used to be way down the priority lists on ailments. Where was it exactly, though? Was it before or after Curse? I know, poison was one of like the highest priority ailments out of everything in the past games. They changed it in 5, though. Probably because they, well, first of all, poison doesn't really disable them like the other ailments do. And also they made high damage poison a lot more accessible. Ooh, this is an issue. I want to get the conditional, which requires killing it with bash damage. But it's poisoned. It's poisoned with a high potency poison. So, Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You finish the monster, but before you can breathe a sigh of relief, you sense a piercing gaze on you. The malice you feel is heavier than ever. Your knuckles whiten as your grips tighten around your weapons. Everything stays still for several heartbeats. Then, suddenly, a monster pounces on you. Oh, multiple. Yeah, that's unusual. Alright, low blow. armor pierce, Aegis thingy, and I mean maybe rock fall. No poison. Poison, yay.
Will this do? Give up.
This is it.
Oh, no stun. Yeah, leg bind.
My all.
And no stampede.
That's a miss.
Yes, that is a miss, Argaffy. Let's see, 1-2 punch.
Ready, Fafnir?
Yeah, I'll stick with what we've got. Healing herb, rockfall mist, messed up, so fire.
Go to hell. Take that.
Best of luck.
Ready? Be gone.
Ah, no follow-ups? Hopefully we got one conditional thanks to reserve magic. Hopefully.
Last one.
Best of luck. Give up.
Ready?
Uh-huh. Maybe one conditional. Yay, one conditional. With that monster defeated, you finally get your sigh of relief. Your nerves on high alert, you check around just in case, but there doesn't seem to be any sign of more threats. Looks like you successfully rid floor 11 of its unusual monster problem. Report back to the tavern to tell Mirna. Yeah, we're kind of worn from this. I mean, Dargev's doing fine on TP, but he ain't using much. Therians do have low int after all. I just hope we can get back for 7 AM. Yeah, honestly, until I started to optimize my parties for the 100% completion, I didn't use ailments much either. I found binds to be more reliable because I could be sure I knew what was disabled, whereas with ailments, there's paralysis, 50% chance that they lose their turn or not. You know, it's not a guarantee, so I'm not going to rely on that. Meanwhile, a bind, I get a head bind. I know they can't use any elemental attacks. And I can rest assured in that.
Get a load of this.
Just one more.
This is it. Can it be like this all the time?
But yeah, once I started to optimize my parties, I started using ailments more because there are some classes that can do a lot of damage to enemies with ailments. You know, like Night Seeker, War Magus, Dark Hunter. And as I started to use those classes more, I started to see more of the value of, ailments in general. That they are different from binds, but they still offer their own ways of damage reduction.
Hey there. What are you selling?
There we are. No ivory sacks. Pretty glad we got all three. No idea where to get the weed, though.
You got yourself a deal. You're always such a big help. Thanks for coming.
Oh, really? Yeah, if you do use a defender in all of your parties, yeah, you can get away with that. For me and Vines, it's just they were a new mechanic. I have not seen, to this day, I have not seen binds in any other game. So they're unique to this series as far as I know. And being unique and new, I did try them out and saw, oh, this is a way to guarantee the enemy can't use that big bad move I don't like them using. And so I did use them a fair bit. I don't think I ever had a party that specialized in binds, but I always had binds available as a tool. Now my parties rely heavily on landing binds because it's just we have no defender, no healer, no nothing to keep us alive. So if we don't get those binds landed, we are dead. But when we do, the whole party's dedicated to offense, so we can just kill it super fast. Because DPS LM, tank healer, and yeah, that's honestly a pretty solid setup. Can't go wrong with the basics.
I wonder what's atop Yggdrasil.
Yeah, that having a physical attacker, elemental attacker, defender, healer, and then a support, that's definitely very standard. One tricky, yeah, you go with a buffer. I'd go with a disabler. So, you probably have a troubadour, while I have a hexer in that slot. Just because I see more value personally in shutting down the enemy than in buffing ourselves up. I prefer acting with impunity versus versus having enhancements. I'm not sure how to phrase that.
Thank you.
I wonder if we can fight the spooky, scary skeletons, though. Looks like you took care of those monsters. Thank the great tree for that. Bravo! What you did will really help other explorers braving the stratum. Well, I should give you your reward. Thanks for all your hard work. Yeah, for me... well, I mean, you're kind of seeing how I build my parties. But late game, or end game... Post game? It still is kind of end game. I'd go with 2 supports and 3 attackers. And they'd be physical attackers, although they'd have hybrid elemental attacks if possible. And then the 2 supports would be a buffer and a disabler. So buffs and debuffs and binds and status elements on top of just 3 glass cannons. Yeah, how to explain that? Well, I mean, the super short answer is it's RNG. That's also the reason why I didn't rely on ailments a lot early on, because it's RNG to land an effect that also has RNG on whether it actually does its thing. And I don't want to rely on that. I don't know how to use it offensively, so I'm just not going to bother with it. I get you with that, but for why you aren't landing ailments and binds in general, that comes down to what skills you're using and who's using those skills. And then as a tertiary, what your party's stats are. So, this is diving into the formula a bit. For one, of course, yeah, early game it is. So of course, for skills, it comes down to the base infliction rate. It really depends on... It's a skill-by-skill basis, but you might have been using something that was like an attack skill that also happens to have a disable component to it, like Head Bash and Lance Snatch. That really does mostly damage, but it has a chance to headbind as well. It's not really great at headbinds, even on its own. Ah, welcome back, Alyssa. Yeah, that's exactly why I lean towards binds versus ailments. But I am seeing the use in ailments, because ailments require a lot less setup. A bit riskier because of the more RNG, but they definitely have their own big payoffs. Yeah, there's a skill component too, so if we're talking skills that you want to inflict disables with, you're of course better off going for skills that do that as their primary thing, like Hexer's whole skill set. Then there's who's using it. Obviously in 5 they split Tech into Int and Wiz, but in all the other games you've got Tech. And maybe they tweaked the formula in some of the other games, but I at least know it in Untold. Tech is like the biggest thing when it comes to ailment infliction. Tech and luck are the two stats that matter. So again, going back to Lance Snatch with Head Bash doesn't have that great of a headbind chance on its own, because it's a damaging skill. But on top of that, it's on a class that has low tech and luck, so even if the infliction rate, base infliction rate was high, it'd still be low. Because the actual stats that are responsible for infliction are low on that class. So that's the other thing that you should consider. Now, as for tech versus luck, in Untold, 2 points of tech is worth this. Sorry. It's 1 point of tech is worth 2 points of luck. Tech is worth twice as much for infliction than luck. However, then the third thing of depends on your whole party, or these stats, is luck. Because when it comes to how long a disable sticks on the enemy, yeah, there's a bit of RNG in it too. A little bit of coin flick. Yeah, fair enough. As long as you've tried specialty, it's not your cup of tea. That's fine. But while there is a little bit of coin flippage to it, for the most part though, the calculation is it compares the disabled entity's luck stat versus the enemy party's average luck stat. Which, in other words, it means the boss's luck versus your party's average luck. Is what it compares it to, and that determines, like, what number range the boss has to get in the random number generation to actually, like, break free of disable that turn. On top of, like, how many turns it's been, because obviously the longer they've been disabled, the higher the chance they'll break free. So, like for example, Ronins, again in Untold, they have the lowest luck of all the classes. They have like less than 20 luck, even when you go up to like level 70. It's just so abysmally low luck. So, even if you have a Hexer that's inflicting all of the disables with their high tech and their high luck, because you have a Ronin in the party, they're not going to stick for long. Because the Ronin's crap luck is going to offset your Hexer's good luck. So again, we have the skills you were using may have not been great for disables. The person using them may not be great, which is often the case if the skills are also not great. And then your party's average luck may not be good either, which is something you would not have thought of. You might have thought of the first two, because you might have noticed somebody with higher tech or luck stats would have better chance. That's fine. But the third part of like them sticking based on your party's average luck, yeah, I didn't know that either until I read the formula. so can't fault you for not knowing that one. But now that you know, that could explain why Disables just did not stick for you. Alright, now make us rich.
Thank you.
7k, 7k, 7k. It's like a whole run or two. I forgot to read that. I take it from the look you're giving me, you need to keep the details a secret. Well, I guess that's what happens when the council gets involved. Still, it's pretty amazing that they specifically asked for you. And quite a name for yourselves.
Well done.
Here's your reward. Can't wait to see what you do next.
What'll it be? There's no new
Nope,
requests
no new
right
chain
now.
quest. Alright, Frigid Reap. There we go. Yeah, I think I might bring Frigid Reap up to... it's like I want Blackblade and Blackshroud too, though. Ah. And there's Double Punch. I mentioned this before with Double Punch. It's like I'm going to be using 1-2 Punch and Cling for like the main bind infliction in the future. So like Double Punch becomes useless then, but Double Punch is still like gets so. Forget Double Punch. Oh, we're doing Double Punch. Alright, I'll just keep going Sword God.
Yes.
Hey, level 5. Now I have a party wide. Man, these are expensive. 5, 10, 15. Ugh. Okay, so we have unlocked everything. So is it time for sprint? Because I've honestly, it's been so long since I've like gotten skill points for Naomi that I forgot what I was planning for the builds precisely. I know the end plan, of course. Or sorry, I don't know the end plan. I have a rough idea for the end plan, but what's the order? Because I think I need spread chant right now, but maybe I want to go these to 4 as well. Spread chant.
Nice.
We go on spread chant. Yeah, spread chant level 4. And then we'll go to Windstorm level 4 and Earthspec level 4, Rockfall level 4, and then Reserve Magic level 10? Reserve Magic level 10, maybe. And spread chant. You know, by the next time that I actually have a point to put into levitation, we're going to be out of the 3rd stratum, and bit of a spoiler, levitation's only really useful in the 3rd stratum.
Be careful out there.
Welcome back. Thank you for your patron. Good night and sleep tight.
You know, hey, it's 2200 already. I legit thought we'd be done with the 13th floor by now, but I got so absorbed in the talks of previous games.
Do you want to save? How can I be of service? Of course. I'll be glad to look after that.
Yeah, let's
for
put
you.
some stuff away and sleep in. Yeah, let's put the ivory sacks away.
How can I be of service?
Ah, I'll close it by talking to everybody, because that's something I nearly forgot to do again.
Hiya.
You want a mountain pot, dear guests? Fishball soup cooked up in fine Therian crockery is perfect to eat on a cold day. It's been a while since I last made any, so I started prepping the ingredients. But can you believe it? The fishballs I was making kept disappearing, one after another. What do you think, my dear guest? Is there some dreadful monster that sneaks in and gobbles up my fish? Or perhaps it's the nefarious work of a phantom thief who only steals fish. World may never know. Maybe this will go down in Arcania's history as one of the 7 mysteries of Ioris. How many cats does she have? At least 3.
Take care now.
Hey there. Hey.
For us, Brownie, the city of 7 Hills is a long, long way from home. Alright, good night, Alex. Sometimes I feel really cooped up and get homesick for cruises of soft grass and open sky. But I can't give up now. I've got to craft something that'll make my kinfolk proud. So help a Brownie out and keep collecting tons of materials from the labyrinth. Pretty please.
You're always such a big help. Thanks for coming.
You know, I used to have this really good friend. Someone who I could really be myself around and who I could consult about anything. Always had my back. I miss that happiness that comes from knowing that the person by your side will be there tomorrow.
What'll it be? Be careful out there.
How may I be of service?
Ah, Itherbuild. I hear you're halfway through the 3rd stratum. There's been some talk from other explorers about a wraith called Roaming Wraith. Something about disappearing into walls only to reappear elsewhere. If you come across it, don't let your guard down. Having made it this far, I'm sure you've noticed there's a pattern to enemy movement. You'll just need to learn this once.
Don't let the labyrinth claim you.
Hello again. Hello.
I'm told the dreaded undead roam the 3rd stratum. Are you not, well, afraid of ghosts?
Oh?
Understandable. I'm troubled by the idea of there being undead. I always thought that notion was absurd. Just wish they could find a more considerate manner to wander the earth forever.
What would you like to do, please?
Feels like a bit of an absurd thing to ask of an absurd entity.
Welcome back. Do you want to save? How can I be of service?
With
Take
that,
care now.
thank you for watching, and have a great night. See y'all tomorrow. When you're dressed as skeletons, disguised as flesh bags, disguised as something else potentially. Very well.